Well, joining us now is the co-founder and frontman of the legendary band Asleep at the Wheel, Ray Benson. Ray, thanks so much for being with us.
Howdy, Quita. It's been a while, but so good to see you.
And it is good to see you too, my friend. And I know Dolly Parton, you two have been friends for such a long time. And I know she reportedly heard Asleep at the Wheel through a mutual friend many years ago and actually called you when you were on The Tonight Show because she wanted to work together. What do you remember about that phone call?
Well, in retrospect, it was life-changing. You know, I mean, we were doing well, but to have Dolly Parton call up, and then we got together. I wrote 6 songs with her. I acted with her in the movie of the week, and did recordings with her, and became a good friend. She was just such an amazing, one of the most amazing people.
Well, what's something about Dolly that people who only know her public persona would be surprised to learn about her?
Oh, you know, she was one of the guys, as I like to say. She was, you know, she always had a great joke, and it didn't have to be the most upright joke. And she was so creative. Most importantly was she woke up every day and had something to do that was important. And that's the way she lived, and it was a blessing to be included in any one of her schemes or plans. You know, and what can I say? You know, it changed my life for sure.
Now, I can only imagine what it was like when Dolly walked into a room. Did the energy just sort of change?
Yeah, I'll tell you one funny story. You remember the place called Liberty Lunch? It's where City Hall is now.
Of course.
Okay, so just before the movie Wild Texas Wind, she said, "Hey, Ray, book a really funky place." And because in the movie, she played the part of the girl singer in my band. She said, "Let's do a gig down there. Don't announce it or anything, and so we can experience it before we start filming." So I went, "Ladies and gentlemen, Dolly Parton." She, you know, there was 300 people there because we just announced it a week before or something. She walks out on stage, and everybody's sort of like, "Oh, Ray got somebody, some Dolly Parton impersonator to come out," you know. She started singing, and oh my God, this place went, "That is Dolly Parton, oh my God." And but she was just amazing. She was down to earth, you know, really just, you know, and I mean, I did records with her. I did a TV show here with her for one of those cable channels. And her and Vince Gill came down, and we did, it's called Stars Over Texas. And she was just such a giving person, you know.
Now, I know everybody loved her. Dolly didn't seem to have an enemy in this world. But let's talk about her music. What makes Dolly such a distinctive singer?
Well, that voice is, and you know, she would always say, "Oh, I'm not a great singer." I said, "Dolly, excuse me, you are a great singer." But that's a lot of great singers who are stylists. In other words, she didn't sound like anybody else. She sounded like Dolly Parton, and it was this incredible voice. It was just emotion on a string right there, you know. And her songwriting, well, gosh, you know, there's stories of her life and stories about of people of Appalachia who grew up like that, which, you know, thankfully those days are gone, honestly, because she had it rough. I'm talking rough. And, you know, to come from that to where she wound up here, she's an icon in the world. I mean, you go around the world, everybody knows who Dolly Parton is, you know. What did Kiki once said? There's 4 things everybody knows around the world: Elvis, Coca-Cola, Jesus, and now Dolly Parton.
Well, what do you think younger musicians can learn from the way Dolly approaches a song?
Well, she was a consummate professional. She was a craftsman, and when you combine craft with a deep emotional, you know, connection that was Dolly, that's what it's all about. And you know what I'm saying? The craft of the song, oh, I can put words and music together and everything, but to come from here and be able to do that within the craft that's magic, and that's what she was able to do.
Now, you were talking a little bit earlier about Wild Texas Wind. That was the movie you and Dolly did together in 1991. Now, you played band leader Ben Rayson, which I think is funny. based on your name.
That was
So,
it.
what do you remember about your first day on the set together?
Uh, well, I'll tell you a story. You know, I got down there and I didn't have this beard, but I had my beard and everything. And so I had to be down there early, 7 o'clock in the morning for makeup and hair. And everything, and they had a toupee for me too. That came down to here, you know. And so I'd be there working, you know, and then Dolly would come in for 2.5 hours and I'd look like Ray Benson, big deal. And she'd come in looking like Dolly Parton around 9. And of course, I'd say, Dolly, how long did it take you to do your hair? I mean, like that. She said, I don't know. I'm never here. I'm never there when they do it. And that was her standard joke line. And I got hit with that the first day.
Well, did she take a different approach to acting than she did to music, or was she just sort of the same way in both careers?
No, she played herself, you know, and you could see that because she was, I mean, she was the most distinctive looking woman in the world for all the reasons, you know, the hair, the figure, her face, etc. But she was able to, you know, to just bring emotion to the surface. That was Dolly, and you know that's the magic of acting when you can go, oh, that's Dolly Parton, but this emotion just comes through her, and it's just amazing, you know.
Now, do
And
you
she was
think? Oh,
funny,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
and she was funny.
Well, do you think Dolly has an underrated connection to Texas music?
Well, I don't know. You know, we did wonderful stuff together. She did the Best Little Whorehouse movie, you know, and but she was everything. I mean, she did pop music, she did hillbilly music, she did straight ahead country music. So, you know, like I said, she loved Willie. You know, she was. You know, when the reason I got to do that with her because she loved the Western style. You know, we always had the Western shirts, the retro look and everything, and she put that together with the music and said, "Wow, that's a great look," you know. And so I don't know, she loved Texas. I know that.
And that sort of goes into my next question. You say she loved hillbilly music, she loved country, she loved all of it. Why do you think Dolly survived and thrived through so many different eras of popular music?
Because she always, you know, her voice and her ideas, all they needed was framework. So whether it was straight ahead country music, pop music, you know, "You Come Again," or that great song, and "9 to 5," which are definitely pop music, it didn't matter because that voice coming through just said Dolly Parton. And that's the magic of it, you know, is it doesn't, it's just a frame to put around, you know.
What's something Dolly has said to you that you've never forgotten?
Well, can't tell you that. No, okay, I'll answer you. Oh gosh, she said, yeah. No, I can't tell that.
Ray, this is a family show. Come on.
Yeah, no, I can't tell that.
Okay, then
No, something that
I'll just move on to a different question if you want.
Yeah, go ahead.
What's the favorite memory of you two together?
I think being in the studio with her was always something because, first of all, we cut all the music for that we had co-written, and then I did the score too of the thing, and so I spent a lot of time in the studio with Dolly, and she was, you know, nowadays they have people that with the auto tune and everything. Well, good God Almighty, you know, she sang and she was done. You know, it was like, oh, you want to do it again? Yeah, let me do that again. Okay, well, you don't have to, but go ahead and sing it again. The creation, you know, I just love to work with her in the studio with something else, you know.
Well, you guys, you were friends for decades, and you've watched her career from much closer than most people ever have. And when you strip away the wigs, the rhinestones, the jokes, and of course, the celebrity, who is Dolly Parton to you?
Dolly Parton is this little girl from the hills, of Tennessee that made it from nowhere. I mean, I don't know that anybody will ever grow up in the kind of situation that she did, for better or worse. It doesn't. It's not my. I'm not questioning its value, but to come from the backwoods of Tennessee to where she is a testament to her talent and her charisma and her fortitude, and also to this great thing we call show business, which is the weirdest thing. Is one of our greatest exports of American music and culture. Is Dolly Parton is certainly that.
If you could have just another 5 minutes with Dolly, what would you tell her?
Let's get married. That's it. I love that woman. I tried to get a hold of her last month, but and this is a fact. The only way you used to get a hold of Dolly Parton was you faxed her assistant. You'd send a fax, and I couldn't find a fax machine, and I spent 2 hours with trying to figure out how to. So I finally figured, and I faxed it, and that there was no more. This was about a month ago. And I didn't know her new manager, so I knew something was up because she was sick. She never canceled anything, so I knew there was nothing good going on, and wished I could have gotten a hold of her, but that's life.
Indeed it is. Ray, is there anything else about Dolly and your friendship that you think people need to know or they need to understand?
No, she enjoyed collaborating with talented people, and she did it with some of the greatest. And for her to include me with that was, to me, one of the top honors I could ever get. Grammys, Emmys, whatever. The acceptance by a peer who you have so much respect for it really did make my career worth putting up with all the bad stuff.
All right. Ray Benson, thank you so much for being with us. We appreciate it.
I appreciate it, Quita. And to Dolly, I will always love you.